Well, I'll be damned. Been a long time, Drill. You're supposed to be dead. Human slowly pulled himself to his feet and forced himself to look at the source of the voice, already knowing what he was going to see. Standing between him and Kurth was another human, its heavy plating shifting colors before settling on the standard black, revealing a sleeker version of the same armor that Human wore. He sported a similar pack affixed to his back, the same piercing orange visor, and carried himself with an overconfident stride that commanded the attention of everyone in the room. And plastered across his chest was an all-too-familiar number designation. "No, why, you're all dead. I made sure of it." Human stammered, struggling to come to terms with the ghost before him. "Hate to be the bearer of bad news, Drill, but I'm very much alive, despite your best efforts." The other human replied, stepping forward and cracking his knuckles. "I gotta say, I'm probably more surprised than you are right now. I mean, the great deserter in the flesh. Must be my lucky day." Human stepped back shakily, his heart rate picking up and drowning out the sounds around him. "This isn't real. This has to be some sort of trick. He can't be alive," he thought, trying uselessly to steady his racing thoughts. If I didn't know you any better, I would have thought you were angry by that tone you were using with my pal Kurth. But you don't get angry, right?" The soldier opposite him paused for a moment, clearly listening to something. "Wow, elevated heart rate, shaky breathing. Never thought it was possible for the great nines to be scared of something, and me at that. I should be honored." Human tried backing up, wanting nothing more than to put as much distance between himself and the thing standing before him. "Trying to leave already? I just got here, Drill. Too good to talk to your old trainee. Attempted systems breach. I will be occupied. You are on your own." Human heard tic-tac in his head as he finally steadied himself enough to confront the other human across from him. "I don't know how you're back. I don't know why. But it doesn't matter. I'm not letting you walk out of here alive. I'll finish what I started all those years ago." As he spoke, he took a combat stance, squaring up against his former trainee. "Guess it's about time we got down to it. Shame I didn't bring a weapon for this, but we both know having one wouldn't do either of us any good. Let's see if you've still got it in ya, Drill." Once he uttered the last word, without any further warning, he rushed forward. Before Human could step back, the soldier was on top of him, grabbing him under one arm and spinning him over the top of his shoulder, slamming him into the ground. Human rolled out of the way just before his attacker's fist smashed into the floor where he was a moment before, leaving a large dent in the metal. "Slow. I expected you to be faster." Human came out of the roll into a crouch and lunged up towards his target. The soldier spun to the side, and using Human's own momentum shoved him into another console at the edge of the room. "Sloppy. I thought you were one of the best. The legendary WS-909 is 1,000 years finally starting to catch up to ye." Human picked himself back up, positioning the console between the two of them. "You never earned the right to call me that." He got out between shaky breaths, looking down at one of the dead brunts on the ground next to him. He quickly ducked down, pulling a steel blade from the combat harness on the body, and sidestepped just in time to avoid being pinned to the wall by another attack. He leaped forward before the other human could recover, and shoved him against the wall, driving the blade towards his visor. The other reached up, slowing the attack as Human gripped the knife in both hands, attempting to drive it further. He grunted from exertion, fighting against the other human's strength before he felt a boot to the knee, breaking his stance. Seizing the moment, the soldier grabbed the blade and shattered it in his fist. Human smashed his forehead against the enemy's visor, causing a crack to spiderweb across its surface. Before he could land another blow, he felt a knee impact his stomach, and the soldier broke the grapple, shoving him back over the desk. "Not bad. You haven't—" Human didn't give him time to finish the sentence. Grabbing a piece of broken glass from one of the smashed interfaces, he launched the glass at him with incredible precision. The jagged piece impaled itself in the small gap between the metal plates on the other human's chest and shoulder. Bright red blood flowed from the wound as the two caught their breath, staring one another down. Haven't lost it," the other human said between ragged breaths. "But it'll take a little more than some broken glass to slow me down, Drill." He reached up and pulled the shard out. The blood trickled down for a second longer before stopping completely. "Yay, gonna take a lot more than that. Where were we?" Human scrambled backwards, scanning the room for anything he could use as a weapon. Before he could pinpoint anything, the other human vaulted the console, attempting a quick kick. Human leaned back just in time, grabbing the outstretched leg and flung the human to his left, into the desk that Kurth was cowering in. Kurth tried to scurry out from underneath the piece of ruining furniture, attempting to flee to safety. "Oh no, you're not going anywhere. I can still use you." The human reached out, grabbing the Illyrian in his hand, wrapping his fingers around the creature's torso. "Wait, sir! Please, ID." The little officer was never able to finish his sentence. The other human tightened his grip, crushing the puny creature's spine. He proceeded to easily tear one of the legs off of the deceased officer's body, reaching into the creature's carcass and rending the largest bone free. He snapped the end of it off without any effort, now wielding a crudely made dagger from the Illyrian's femur. Whining all the way till the end. Typical anomaly. They're more useful like this anyway, if you ask me. The human stopped, admiring its work before turning back towards its target. "Now, why are you even here, Nines? Don't tell me you came for one of these pathetic things. What could they possibly do for someone like us? Just objects to be used and discarded like the abominations they are." "I don't owe you an explanation. You didn't get it then, and you won't get it now. I gave up on trying to change you all long ago." Human said, glaring daggers at the blood-spattered person across from him. "Oh, you gave up on us? Funny, I remember you doing much more than that." The soldier said, shifting his gaze from his newly crafted weapon to human in front of him. "Last thing I remember, you tried to kill all of us. You never deserved to be on the pedestal we put you on. I'm glad none of them are alive to see how weak you've become. They'd be disappointed." "You haven't changed at all. You always were my biggest disappointment." Human sighed, readying himself for another attack. His words seemed to have struck a chord as the other human lunged forward, jagged bone clutched in his hand. Human tried to dodge the attacks, but his opponent was faster, stronger, younger. The makeshift knife found its place in the armor gap by Human's ribs, his undersuit unable to repel a non-metallic weapon. It was quickly followed up by another attack as Human stumbled backwards. He reached up trying to block with his hand, catching the sharp bone in the center of his palm. With his other hand he tried to wrench it free from the soldier's grip. Human tripped on one of the bodies behind him, falling onto his back, the blade freeing itself from his flesh. The attacker didn't relent, thrusting the bone downwards, once more piercing the soft space in Human's shoulder, forcing the blade deeper until it was barely visible. "We idolized you, worshipped you, wanted to be just like you." The other human yelled, standing up, planting his heavy boot on Human's neck, pinning him to the ground. "Were you always just setting us up to die, leading us on like animals to the slaughter?" He howled, forcing his weight down, trying to crush Human's neck. "Were you planning that shit from day one? We clawed ourselves into existence. We endured the trials, earned the right to live, just for you to tear it all away. I'll make you suffer for all the lives you took, but unlike them, it won't be quick and easy. You'll feel all their pain for them." Human struggled to catch his breath, feeling the tension in his undersuit giving out, the power percentage reading in his visor dropping by the second. "For Mags, for Sev, for 8, all of them. When I'm done here, you'll wish you stayed dead. We thought you actually cared about us. Was it all just an act?" "Tic-Tac, I need you now. Please," Human thought, begging for any sort of assistance indisposed. "Endure." I did care. I really did. I tried to teach you all better, to teach you how to feel." Human got out between choked gasps, reaching up to try to force the weight off of him. "Oh, that it was? How to feel. Look where that got you." The boot eased up, only to be stomped back down even harder. "You were always weak, always different. The weak only deserve death in this world. You earn the right to live through suffering, through struggle, and I've more than earned my life by now. Your story ends here, Drill." Counterattack complete. Overriding mass tension, administering combatant 3. Standby Tic-Tac's voice sounded in Human's head as his vision was starting to fade. He felt his body surge with energy as he was injected with a cocktail of various chemicals. His hands tensed around the boot, holding him down. Metal groaned for a second before shattering completely. Hands no longer his clenched tight, crushing metal, then tissue, then bone. The human yelled in pain as his foot was completely and utterly shattered. Human threw his old trainee backwards, standing up and catching his breath. "That's where you're wrong. My story's just begun. I didn't escape that hell just for it to end there, and it's certainly not going to end to the likes of you." Human stepped forward with a newfound fury, artificial adrenaline coursing through his veins, his anger fixated on the only thing in front of him. He stopped, listening for a moment. Elevated heart rate, shaky breathing. Seems like you're the one who's scared now. The human scrambled back, trying to pull himself to his feet, but collapsing back to the ground with each futile attempt. Human strode forward, tearing the Illyrian femur from his shoulder, closing the distance between them. You're going to die, and I'm going to rid the galaxy of our kind once and for all. Then the universe will finally be a better fucking place. Human grabbed the soldier's neck, holding him in place as he brought the bone down, forcing it through the glimmering visor. His own face stared back at him in the reflection. The soldier brought his hands up in a futile attempt to block the attack, but was too late. The shard broke through the glass, blood spurting out through the small hole in the center of the mask. Human squeezed his old trainee's neck, the sound of bones snapping underneath the flexible undersuit. He stepped back, looking down at the mirror image of himself bleeding out on the ground before him. It shuddered as it struggled for air, the time between each breath growing longer with every passing second. It's done. Deactivate combat protocols, tic-tac. Let's get what we came here for. Human sighed, turning back towards the main door. Behind him he heard a sharp inhale as the corpse caught its breath. Leaving without finishing the job once again? Don't make that mistake twice, Drill. The human said between fits of coughing up blood, I may be the first, but I won't be the last. They know you're alive now. They can send all of you they want. They'll need more than just my old students to put me down. He chuckled, spitting out more blood. They'll only send one. Like I said, I'm not worried. You're a dead man walking, and you don't even know a drill, the human whispered, barely able to get the words out now. He's alive, you know, and once he finds out you are too, the soldier let out one final laugh. He's been waiting to be useful again. WH, who are you talking about? A tinge of fear evident in Human's voice as he posed the question. He turned around to look at the dying soldier one last time. Zero,